So what's the story?
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Hell yeah, I could tell you some stories.
And that's the point.
You see this sign?
Mr. Wells, is it all worth it?
It is when it works.
I think we have a movie.
Hey, welcome back to Nobody Knows Hollywood. I'm your host, Robert Cochrane, and I'm here with my friend Blaine this morning. Blaine, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, Robert. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Blaine, it was a pleasure to meet you on Masterclass, and I know we got to read each other's scripts, which was really fun. I really enjoyed doing that exchange. I wanted to find out a little bit more about you this morning, though. Tell me how you got started with screenwriting.
Actually, I mean, it probably started a little bit later. I don't want to say a late bloomer, but pretty close to that, because when I was in high school, I didn't really do any type of drama classes. I wasn't into writing at all, but I was definitely into movies. That's definitely a big passion of mine. And once I got older and I kind of accumulated the knowledge, I really felt like, you know what, if you dedicate yourself and you apply yourself, this is something you can do for a living. You can make movies. And I took a couple of classes. I went to a community college out here just to get my associates, but then I actually went to a community college out here that's really good for the film program. So once I got there and I started taking screenwriting classes, like a couple producing classes, I just fell in love with it. And that was in 2008, 2009. And I've been really writing and trying to get myself geared for that type of lifestyle ever since.
Yeah. So what do you like about the process of screenwriting in particular? Because it's a very unique animal. I've done lots of different writing, but a lot of people are interested in it because movies are exciting. What do you like about the process specifically of screenwriting?
Well, first, I mean, it's a tough process. Any type of writing really is. I've always heard that if you really love writing, it's probably gonna be pretty difficult for you. And now that I'm in the thick of things, I definitely agree with something like that. But I really love the freedom of it, and I love that you can put your stamp on it, because no matter how good a director is, or how good the producer is, like, every movie starts with the script. So the fact that you can kind of put your stamp on the story is something that I really love. I mean, you can only have so much creative control when you're doing collaboration or an art that involves collaboration. So the fact that you can kind of manipulate it to really have like your voice be the first thing to be heard is something that I really, really like. I'm not a super anal guy, but I guess just like anybody else, you like to have a little bit of creative control while you're doing. And I think writing kind of makes you a little bit more accessible for something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, this is I always say, the ultimate collaborative art form. There's no other art form that requires this many different kinds of art to come together, and it can go wrong in so many places. So,
absolutely,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about movies is I feel like every movie idea is a great idea. It's really just the execution of that idea. And you're right, since it is a collaborative process, when you get so many cooks in the kitchen, there's always that chance that something could be a foul.
Yeah, and that's sometimes the problem, I think, too, with criticizing a film. People don't, they don't know where to point, because, directorially, it's a film by, which I don't really like the possessory credit, and even having directed, I've sometimes disavowed myself of that because it is such a collaborative form. You don't know where a film might go awry as a viewer, and people will blame a director, an actor, a writer, and it's like, well, but who was that really about?
Yeah, very much so. I think I think I heard Michael Fassbender say something like that. He's like, "There's really no such thing as good acting, just bad and good directing." And I think you're right. The directing is, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't really like that they get the credit either, just because there's so many moving parts to a movie. But you're right. The director is kind of always kind of like a quarterback of a team, always going to get like all the praise, and then they're probably going to get all the criticism when things go bad.
Yeah, for right or wrong, that just seems how it goes. Let me ask you about influences. Who got you thinking you could do it or wanted to do it? Was there a writer or a film, something that got you started?
I wouldn't say a writer or a director. I mean, when I was younger, I don't think I knew the names as well as, especially that I do now. But I just remember I saw so many different movies. I mean, I'm very fortunate. My dad really had a good collection of different movies. I mean, I remember being a kid watching, Die Hard, probably when I was a lot younger than I probably should have, or A White Christmas. So, I mean, I was watching movies of different eras, which was really good. But I think, I mean, being the kid or the age that I'm at, I mean, some of the stuff that like Disney did is like when you're a kid was just like so influential. And I was definitely big into action movies. I mean, like Terminator 2 Judgment Day, man. I mean, I watch it like a religion. Like if it's on TV, I feel like I got to watch at least like certain scenes of it. So I wouldn't say necessarily certain people. I mean, I think as a whole, I mean, of course, like being, I guess, a guy growing up with the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, the Sylvester Stallones, like Jean-Claude Van Damme, who I don't even know what he's doing right now. But a lot of those guys, man, I think really just kind of like spoke out to me, but more so just because the projects that they were in, more so than what they were doing. But as I got older, man, and once I got onto IMDb, I was addicted. I mean, I'm on that probably more than I am. Like, I don't have any social media, so that's kind of like my go-to for websites. So I mean, once I learned like more about actors and directors, I mean, I couldn't get enough of it. Now that I'm older, I mean, I look back at like people like, I mean, David Lean and Stanley Kubrick who are making stuff that was really not even great for their time, but it's so influential now. I mean, it's crazy to think like, I feel like or maybe not every, but a lot of people who want to get into film, they were probably influenced by like Kubrick or someone like that. So
Yeah, they may not even know it.
Yeah, exactly. Like now that I'm older, there's a lot more people that I've kind of been accustomed to. I'm a big Humphrey Bogart fan, so I mean a lot of what he did with Big Sleep, man, I just like absolutely love. And Steve McQueen too, man. I love like all the movies I've seen of him. Even though I'm not really pursuing acting, just like, you know, the presence that they brought is something that I'm attracted to a lot. But I think it's more that I'm older. I kind of like pay attention to more key names. But as a kid, man, I think it was just more so movies themselves that kind of influenced me.
Blaine, you keep saying you're older. How old are you? I have to ask.
I'm 28, so I guess maybe I'm using that word a little loosely, but yeah, I'm 28.
Age is very relative. Last question, Blaine. When you think about, when people want to say, hey, this guy's interesting, if they wanted to find you, is there anything you've done yet, or where would they be looking for you next to see your work?
I haven't. So I've submitted it to a couple of things. I mean, I've submitted to Amazon and like a couple, you know, film festivals and stuff like that. I haven't had anything produced. I mean, honestly, I'd probably say my biggest highlight right now is I've had a couple of people of somewhat like good influence, like read a couple of my scripts. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's really not much. But in terms of like me getting my work out there, I'm really now in the process. So I told you I live in Mesa. I'm actually on the verge of moving out to LA because I think being out there in that area is just something so key to me. And then being on that masterclass too, talking to other people, hopefully I can link up with more people in that area. But I think now I'm more in that process of getting out there, getting my work out there, and then, you know, meeting all the right people that I need to meet.
That's awesome, Blaine. And to tell you what, when you do make that move, make sure we're going to be in contact anyway, but make sure to let me know. I'm going to check back in with you. We're going to see what life in LA is treating you like. I did 5.5 years in LA, and I'll be very interested to see how that goes for you. And anything I can offer, we'll do for you too, man.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you like it when you were out there?
I loved it. It's a difficult business, and yet that's what it's supposed to be. It's all encompassing when you live there. Yeah, we'll talk about that in the next episode.
Yeah, definitely, man. It was good to hear from you, and I really appreciate you, Robert, taking the time to do this, man. It's been awesome.
Hey, you betcha, Blaine. We'll catch you next time. This is Nobody Knows Hollywood. I'm your host, Robert Cochrane. See ya.